he was different than the other Andrettis. And I like to think about his impact that he's made with the race for Riley and all the not-for-profit stuff that he's done outside of all of his racing accomplishments. Tony Donahue, let's talk a little bit about John Andretti before we go into Kobe.
Yeah, with John, there were so many elements, layers, and aspects to who he was. As you mentioned, you had the guy who was kind of obviously outshadowed by the success of Michael Andretti and his famous uncle of Mario Andretti. But John was the driver that went and did sprint cars and would run on dirt, and then he became, a 24 Hours of Daytona winner, and he was running Trans Am, and he ran sports cars, and then he came over to IndyCar and won a race in in Surfers Paradise, Australia. And then he went NASCAR racing, and that's where he found most of his success. He got his first win at Daytona, driving for Cale Yarborough in 1997 in the Pepsi 400. He won a few more races for Richard Petty. I know one was at Martinsville. And he just continued to race, almost. I mean, he was in Indy 500s, I believe, in at least 3 decades, if not 4. I think it might have been 4. I mean, he raced all the way up until 2010 when he had his last run with Brian Reinbold with Richard Petty. And like you mentioned, I mean, as good and as dynamic of a racing driver he was as good of a person as he was. And what he did for Riley, and then for gentlemen with the check it for Andretti, getting colonoscopies, for guys in their late 40s, early 50s. It was crazy, yeah. And I was fortunate to kind of know him growing up, watching him race, and then became a friend when he would do radio. He would come by our radio booth at the Speedway almost every time, and the good thing was is he could break it down for you, whether it was IndyCar or NASCAR, because he had obviously had success in both. And the good thing with John was he broke it down for you so that you could understand it, and he didn't talk down to you. Sometimes you hear analysts and this is how it is, and you don't know this because you've never been in the cockpit, but that wasn't John at all. And then he had his race for Riley, his charity race every year, go-kart race out in Newcastle that I was fortunate to race in twice, won it one time.
You did. I remember that. Yes, that's true.
Yep.
You did pretty good at one of those races, as I remember.
Yeah, so won led a bunch of laps in the first and won the second one, and John was there, and he was so gracious that all of us were there. And sometimes in life, a simple thank you and a simple thanks for being here and showing appreciation goes a long way. And John appreciated everybody. He appreciated all the support that he had gotten for Race for Riley with Cheerios, and just heavy hearts with that loss because he was so good to so many people.
Great statement that Cheerios and Petty and Andretti all issued about John Andretti. And, of course, with Petty, I mean, he was the first guy to bring a Petty car, the Petty car itself, back to victory lane. We're playing duo roles here. We got Ed Kracz, beat writer for the Philadelphia Eagles. And, Ed, I know you got a wrestling thing to go to, so we only got you for a few minutes. But one of Kobe's biggest rivals, yet friends, was LeBron James. And one of the last tweets that we ever saw from Kobe Bryant was congratulating LeBron James on passing him on the all-time scoring record. Here's LeBron James talking about Kobe at the Lakers Memorial.
Laker Nation, man, I would be selling y'all short if I read off. The first thing that comes to mind, man, is all about family. And as I look around this arena, we're all grieving. We're all hurt. We're all heartbroken. But when we're going through things like this, the best thing you can do is lean on the shoulders of your family. And from Sunday morning all the way to this point, now I heard about Laker Nation before I got here last year about how much of a family it is. And that is absolutely what I've seen this whole week, not only from the players, not only from the coaching staff, not only from the organization, but from everybody. Everybody that's here, this is really, truly, truly a family. And I know Kobe and Gianna and Vanessa and everybody, thank you guys from the bottom of their heart, as Kobe said. Now, I know at some point we will have a memorial for Kobe, but I look at this as a celebration tonight. This is a celebration of the 20 years of the blood, the sweat, the tears, the broken down body, the getting up, the sitting down, the everything, the countless hours, the determination to be as great as he could be. Tonight we celebrate the kid that came here at 18 years of age, retired at 38, and became probably the best dad that we've seen over the last 3 years, man. Tonight is a celebration. Before we get to play, love y'all, man. Kobe is a brother to me, and from the time I was in high school to watching him afar, to getting in this league at 18, watching him up close, all the battles that we had throughout my career, the one thing that we always shared is that determination to just want to win and just want to be great. And the fact that I'm here now means so much to me. I want to continue along with my teammates to continue his legacy, not only for this year, but as long as we can play the game of basketball that we love, because that's what Kobe Bryant will want. So in the words of Kobe Bryant, Mamba out, but in the words of us, not forgotten. Live on, brother.
That's LeBron James' comments recently at a memorial where the game at first home game after the passing of Kobe Bryant, which we know tragically lost his life in a helicopter crash outside of Los Angeles. We go to Ed Kratz now. Ed, two greats, LeBron James and Kobe Bryant. And LeBron and Kobe kind of followed the same path. Both came right out of high school into basketball. Both came back to their hometown to play. Well, not really their hometown, but kind of spent a lot of time in their hometown. And I mean, I know he's from Philadelphia, but he is a Los Angelesan, if that's the word for it, as well. Ed Kratz, we want to get your final thoughts because I know you got to run. I appreciate you joining us, but final thoughts on Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, it still kind of feels surreal, and here we are a week later after it happened. And, you play that LeBron clip, and it's interesting that, he moved past Kobe Bryant in the all-time scoring, all-time points list in the NBA here in Philadelphia the night before Kobe was killed, which, it's kind of ironic when you think about it. And Kobe really gave a great thank you to LeBron really thanked Kobe profusely after he passed him, and that was when Kobe was still alive. He talked to Philadelphia reporters after that game last week when the Lakers were in town, and who knew then what was going to happen just 24 hours later. But yeah, my thoughts are just taken too soon, and we all talked about how he was really beginning kind of the second act of his life, his post-career life. He won an Oscar for, an animated short series. He was just ready to kind of take off into the second chapter of his life post-NBA, and it would have been really interesting to see exactly what he would have done with his life over the next 15, 20 years. And, we're kind of robbed of that. And, in addition to Kobe, you have to always remember the others that were killed in that crash as well. And
sure, absolutely.
There were, Gianna, of course, and then, another teammate of hers, another young girl, and, her parents and, the pilot, of course. But I thought the Sixers did a great job, when they played a couple nights later. By giving tribute, they showed, they had 9 spotlights come out on the floor for the 9 lives lost. So they did a good job of not honoring just Kobe, but everybody that passed in that tragedy. Thank you.
We've been talking with Ed Kratz. Ed, I hope you'll join us tomorrow for the big game special, and we'll talk with you soon. And I hope your wrestling team makes it all the way, buddy.
All right. Thanks again. I appreciate it. Take care, guys.
All right. Ed Kracz, beat writer for Philadelphia Eagles. He's taken some time from his wrestling coaching job to talk with us about Kobe Bryant. Tony Donahue from the Tony D podcast joins us. Tony, you're also doing some stuff in the sports betting world and in the podcast world now, I see. Is that rumor true?
Yeah, since it was legalized here in the state of Indiana back in September, we've been having fun with it and kind of just it's an interesting dynamic, and when I was in radio, it was kind of the prep that I was already doing for a radio show, just kind of went in with sports gambling and tie in, and it just kind of made sense, and that's just the road that I've decided to go down, and we're having fun with it.
Hey, man, we'll promote you as much as we can, and tomorrow we'll have you on the show. We'll talk about the lines, but let's talk a little bit more. And, you mentioned how approachable John was, and I appreciate you giving us the memories of him. He was really just a nice guy, just lived in Brownsburg, and, you could drive by his house and think it was nothing special, just normal suburban home, and that was the kind of guy that John was, and I appreciate you sharing your thoughts today. Let's talk a little bit about Kobe. I mean, we're doing dual roles today. I remember last week, Rick Riggin, our college football contributor, texted me, and I said, I saw that, but it's TMZ, so I don't know that I trust it. Then I just started stalling everybody else. So then we jumped on the bandwagon too. But, I mean, do you kind of was that kind of one of those moments? Do you remember what you were doing when you found out, or did you find out later? I know I texted you, but as you said, you have Twitter, so you already knew. But what is it kind of one of those moments? I remember what I was doing when.
I think there's just so many layers to this. I had just got on Twitter, saw the TMZ report, called a friend. And I know that TMZ has gotten a rap in the past of not being correct, but as a website, and as they have a TV show daily and a sports show, you don't if that was wrong and if that was false, you don't recover from that. That's the kind of stuff that shuts down your website. So
correct.
I was just shocked. You felt for everybody on that helicopter, and then there were so many other rumors about who was on the helicopter, and it just. I think it's the biggest debt that we've had in the social media era.
Sure.
It's not it's certainly the biggest. This and Dale Earnhardt come to mind as the biggest sports tragedies of unexpected that I've ever seen. But this, just with the worldwide flair, and everybody, even if you've never watched an NBA game in your life, knows who Kobe Bryant is. When you talk about household names and having popularity, it doesn't get any more popular than Kobe Bryant, and that'll continue even with his death. But you just look at the way that he was an absolute dominant force on the basketball court. The things that he did outside of the basketball court, as far as being a father, go above and beyond what he did on the basketball court. And just the way that he worked with young players and I thought it was tough for a lot of those players to play on Sunday, because you're talking about a player passing away that, everybody on that basketball court that played on Sunday to play this week in the NBA was influenced by Kobe Bryant at one point or another. And you just think about that and how tough that was for everybody. I'm definitely looking forward to the All-Star game just to see, some of the tributes that they have and how they work Kobe into some of those things. But, just sad. You just feel sad for everybody involved. And you think about, man, how could this happen to Kobe Bryant, one of the most popular players of all time? And it just shows that life's fragile, and when it's your time, it's just absolutely your time. And just very unfortunate, very sad.
Yeah, it is. And Kobe, again, like you said, you don't have to be a basketball fan to know who Kobe Bryant is, who LeBron James is, who Michael Jordan is. You